Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. I'm also trying to go live over here on Instagram. Always takes an extra second to do it, but we are now live on Instagram. So happy Tuesday. As you can see, I got a new camera, which I needed because somehow it died yesterday. So had to get a new one. That happens. So today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about um, the combat swimmer stroke with some critiques that I have for you. May show you a few that were sent this week, along with some descriptions that I have on TikTok and my Instagram Reels, but also have them on YouTube Shorts and YouTube as well. So you probably 400 CSS critiques out there um, that you guys can look at and try to learn from. But first, I saw this question as I was leaving yesterday, and I thought it was a really good one because I realized I talk about running athletes, swimming athletes, lifting, power, um, combative athletes. I use a lot of terms, and someone asked, "What do I mean by running athlete?" Well, um, I didn't really think I needed to explain that, but maybe I do. So, a running athlete is someone who mainly spent their athletic history. And remember, as we talked about yesterday, my assessment of a new candidate, I want to know their athletic history. So when someone tells me they ran cross country in high school and in college, I'm going to call that guy a running athlete because probably did not work on other things other than running and getting faster at running. There may be a strength weakness. There may be a swimming weakness involved. In fact, there may even be a speed weakness depending on the type of running that athlete did. I've seen a lot of guys that can do, ultra marathon distances, but, do mediocre on mile and a half timed runs. They just haven't learned that 6 minute mile pace. But some cross country guys can crush that thing and do it in under 8 minutes. So everybody's a little bit different. If you're coming from a sprinting background, a mile and a half may feel like long distance to you. Treading may be a really big challenge because most sprinters are pretty muscled and low body fat, and treading is just an extra challenge. So running athletes kind of go into a big group of people, but once I kind of understand the type of running that person did in their athletic history, I can call that person a running athlete. Now, I would probably put sprinters in more of a power athlete description just because they are lifting more, they are sprinting fast. Anything over 400 meters is considered long distance to that group. Maybe they also did some impact sports, lacrosse, football, things like that. So runners kind of a big group, but they come with significant weaknesses. A lot of them being strength based, load bearing based. Even swimming. Swimming is not an easy thing to pick up for a runner. Something that is easy to pick up for a runner are calisthenics. When we first start off with cross country runners joining our group, we crush them the first 6 weeks with calisthenics. Like getting near a pull-up bar frightens them because it's very challenging for a lot of them at first. But because their cardio is so good and the way that their muscles are really kind of developed for high repetition um, programming, calisthenics and running work really well. In fact, in 6 weeks, most of my cross country guys are competing with some of the best scores in calisthenics. Running, swimming, maybe not so much. Then you got the swimming athlete. Swimming athlete's very similar. However, running is just the biggest weakness for the swimmer. If you've done anything smart during your swimming off season, you lifted and you ran. Because if you can do that, you can probably forego a lot of the challenges a lot of swimmers have when they go into these tactical fields. They typically have shin splints and stress fractures, joint pain, um, even shoulder pain, because they tend to be a little hypermobile and they lack a lot of stability. So anything over your head is challenging, um, until they've developed some stability in their shoulders and knees and hips and ankles even. Um, so there's some challenges that go with swimming. Most of them are running and just gravity related. Period. Um, However, you can do yourself a favor and not. Um, you can do yourself a favor and not have some of those things just by what you do in the off season. So once again, your athletic history will kind of guide me to understanding what you're trying to do. The other athlete being the power athlete, I come from that background. Um, you know, football playing, power lifter, sprinter, anything over 100 yards is long distance, just that type of guy. Strong enough to handle logs and boats and rucks, just not really good enough for high repetition calisthenics. For multiple sets, you might get one good set out of you. Um, After that, multiple rounds of calisthenics volume, running volume is also something that is a weakness. Swimming may also suck for that athlete as well. So, but it can be learned, and that is where you put together an assessment of athletic history, scores on all of these, and then you develop a plan to help you create um, a way to maintain your strengths, but also really sharply focus on your weaknesses. That's the number one route I take all of my guys to do. And I thought that was a really good question. In fact, this morning I am writing that up, and I'll share it today on social media and things like that. Um, but I'm doing an article on. In fact, it's titled "Running, Swimming, Lifting Athlete Defined." And what do I mean by running athlete is one of the sections. What do I mean by swimming athlete is one of the sections. And then each of them have a section weaknesses with runners, weaknesses with swimmers. So that is coming up, and we will discuss that here. Um, Discuss that in an article in a little more in depth. So that's my introduction. So if you guys have questions, send them. Looks like I don't have any over here on Instagram yet. Someone says, I hate running. Running is for the enemy. Huh. Okay, that's pretty funny. Um, I think my body is naturally built for mid long distance running. I sprinted in college and was not the fastest, but could always blow all the sprinters out of the water on the longer distance days. Yeah, I tell you what, there's some hybrid runners too that may not be great at sprints and may not be great at long distance running, like 5 miles or 10Ks, marathon type stuff, but they're excellent at 800s. Some of the fastest mile and a halves I've ever seen were from collegiate 800-meter runners. So that mid distance is also a suck factor too. Running a 400 is tough, but running an 800 is tougher. Definitely. Um, let's see. Advice for Air Force EOD prep. Do you have any programs for that? You know what? This is what I have. And I know the EOD world is a little bit different as far as some of the swimming requirements you guys have to do or not do. Um, let me see if I have. I don't. I discuss EOD training in this, but to be honest with you, just looking at their IFT and OFT charts, they're a little bit different than this. This may be a little too much for EOD, as I'm not sure how much swimming you need. So my advice would be maybe start off with the calisthenics and cardio program because it is a good way to go intermediate, advanced level, and it will help you with pull up, push up, sit ups, running. And if you need to swim for any fitness test, it will help you with that. Or maybe it's part of your prep that you have to swim. It at least gets you a little more comfortable with the swimming um, programming in there. Let's see. Good question, though. Do I like thumbs over the bar or around the bar for pull ups? I like both. In fact, I play around with both. Sometimes when I'm doing really high volume calisthenics, I will go like this just because I know I can last longer with my grip if I'm doing, 150 plus pull ups in a workout. Or I'm adding in a lot of farmer walks that day or deadlifts that day. Sometimes we'll mix in pull ups and deadlifts. So I want to save my grip as much as I can. However, when I'm doing just an average upper body day and maybe doing, 100 pull ups or so, um, I will go like this just to change it up. I'll go like this. I'll go like this. So I change up my grip quite a bit, mainly for variety. Um, but yeah, it's kind of up to you. I've found I can do a whole lot more like this with pull ups. Would you recommend doing weighted pull ups or regular pull ups to increase my max pull up number? And which one should I do before buds? I would do both, be honest with you. In fact, I have a new workout that has been really good. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's a workout that tests. Um, it's a really good assessment here. Let me see if I can find it. Try this test. Yeah, I had two different tests out there, and this one is on. Yeah, here you go. Woo! You'll like this. Check out this. So what this is right here, this is a just a 3-set workout. You're going to do weight vest pull-ups max, go straight to weight vest dips max, so it's a push-pull combo. Then you're going to take off the weight vest, max pull-ups without the weight vest, max dips without the weight vest. Now rest 2 to 3 minutes. We usually do an active rest, jog, walk, bike combo. And you're going to go through that 3 different times. And what I'm looking for are how much your numbers change or do they stay the same? Um, what I'm trying to do is just see where your muscle stamina is, and as well as strength. Because I've seen a lot of people, do this workout where they could barely do 3 or 4 weight vest pull-ups, and that's a 20-pound weight vest, by the way. Like 3 or 4, but they could do 15 unweighted pull-ups. So that tells me there's a strength issue with their pulling muscles. So we may work on more weight vest stuff for them. Now, I've also seen guys who can do 10 to 15 pull-ups with the weight vest, but then when they take it off, they can only do 5 without it. Strength is not a problem. Muscle stamina is pretty good too, because your first pull up is a strength exercise, your 15th or more or less even is an endurance exercise, but you don't have the endurance to do it again without the weight. So I try to get people really close to max reps, like let's say 15 plus with the pull up weight vest, take it off, and then do it again. See if you can get 10 to 15 close to that same number. That shows me that your strength is good as well as your muscle stamina is good. And chances are you do that enough, you're going to see your non weight vest pull ups also go up into the 20 plus range pretty quickly. We've seen it occur probably 4 to 6 weeks if they were stuck in the teens somewhere with their non weighted pull ups doing that workout. Do you wear any diving shoes when swimming with jet fins? Absolutely. I got XXL size jet fins, 10.5 feet, and it feels a little wobbly. Yeah, you can't go barefoot with jet fins or rocket fins. Period. Right? You will ruin your feet. Your feet will be dead if you do that. But I would definitely get sized for thicker booties. They have booties that are just like a sock, the little thicker. You know, uh, not even a quarter inch thick. Um, that will at least protect your feet. Might rub it a little bit, but not going to eat it up. But you can also get thicker booties if you have a lot of room there. Um, by the thicker booties even have a sole, so you can actually run in them if you wanted to, or at least walk around concrete and not feel a rock go into your foot. But yeah, you got to have booties. Steven, how are you, sir? Hope you are well. Let me see over here on Instagram. How do I get a better grip strength? Need that for EOD and hard to get even 1 to 2 pull-ups because of poor grip. A lot of ways to get grip strength. In fact, you can Google an article I wrote called Operator Grip. Let me see if I can find it. Operator Grip, Stu Smith. It's on military.com, this article. It's a lot of fun. They changed the title. I used to call it Operator Grip, but they call it Why a Strong Grip Comes in Handy. Military Special Ops. So check this out. This is the name of the article. You can search. Sometimes they're new editors that get in there and change the titles out there. Let's see. But yeah, check that out. Everything from holding plates, hanging from a pull-up bar would probably be my number one go-to for you. Um, rope, rope on a bar with a weight, and you just rotate it like this, trying to pull up the weight. Rice bucket, get in there with a rice bucket and work on the grip. Any type of farmer walks, kettlebell farmer walks, those are also good for grip. But yeah, check out that article. It's a good one. You changed my life, Stu. I'm currently on the USS Ronald Reagan. Lost over 75 pounds working for a SEAL contract. Yes. Good job. Man, I like to hear those stories. It's fun helping people go from 10 to 20 pull-ups, be honest with you. But I tell you what, I get probably some of my most fulfilling job related joy out of seeing people lose 75, 100 pounds and go crush their next opportunity. So good job, man. Let me know if you need help with anything. What would be your recommended weight for someone who is 6 feet tall, preparing for buds, started at 123 up to 155? Woo, that was skinny. Run times and calisthenics are all at your recommended levels, but behind on others, probably behind on some of the lifts. 6 feet, 180 is a good, moderate zone. I was 6 feet, 195 going through first phase. That was kind of my leanest I was getting at that time. So I had some muscle mass on me, but I wasn't um, too heavy to get through those events. Um, but there were times when I wished I was a little lighter, to be honest with you, especially on 4 mile runs or longer. But yeah, having some being over 155 at 6 feet, unless you're like wiry strong, um, probably wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you are lacking some of those strength numbers, I would definitely try to put on some mass and get stronger at the same time. Um, what should a goal 1.5 mile time for Buds be? Come on, man. That's all over the place. 9 minutes. All right, let's see what you got down dirty. I am a former powerlifting football player. Dang, yep, I know the feeling. Woo! Though I was not 366. 39, 6 foot, 366, wanting to drop weight, get lean to join the Coast Guard. Any advice with process would be appreciated. Yeah, at 39, that is when probably about 35 is when I really started realizing that I can't outwork my diet. And as much as I've tried over the years, even working out multiple hours in a day, um, outworking your diet has been very challenging. Probably in your 20s, it's not that big a deal, but in your 30s and early 40s, it's a big deal. Um, it's got to be 80% of what you do. Your calories in, you can't eat like a powerlifting football player anymore. You really can't. You got to limit your calories coming in, but healthy eating. And, you know, you might have to lose some muscle if you're still got a lot of muscle mass on you, which kind of sucks. And lose some fat too. But, sometimes guys have to lose muscle if they've got on like 50 pounds of extra muscle. Um, but I would probably start off, be honest with you, with the calisthenics and cardio program. It's a really good program that has a beginner focus on it. Um, at 366, I wouldn't run. I would do more non-impact cardio activity. Um, I'm going to put this in the link. This has a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And if you can just do this whole program, you will be ready for Coast Guard training. I promise you, because it is stacked with, um, all the calisthenics tests you need, swimming, running, you know, all of that. And for now, while you're trying to focus on losing weight, you can, do more non-impact cardio. But you basically need to just run, bike, or not run, walk, bike, swim your ass off. I keep struggling with IT band syndrome on my distance runs. Any tip on how to prevent or alternatively train when it flares? I've made it through a few of those flare ups. I tend to do some massage tooling before a run, even some foam rolling on my legs, not just the side of my legs, but the front, the back, my butt, just to kind of part of my warm up. And then if it doesn't go away in the first mile of warming up jogging, then stop running and get on a bike. But if it goes away, chances are that's just some tendonitis acting up, and you could still run through that, but you're going to need to massage it, stretch your legs, stretch your butt, work those glute medius extras muscles, with some clamshells and side steps. We used to call them, just aerobic workouts where you're just, you're laying on your side and lifting your leg up and down. Um, that will definitely work that glute medius, which could be one of the reasons why you're feeling that flare up. Yep. Can't outwork your diet. Powerlifter here went from 320 to 203. Well, thank you there, Space Cowboy. Stu will get you there. Um, let's see. Let me see if I can pull up some swimming. Um, it's just because not even quite sure why. But let's take a look here. This is one of those situations where I'm going to tell the all of you guys, if you're sending me a video, tell the guy who's filming you to actually walk with you because you can't see anything in this. So this is what I see. Um, so let's come on now. Where are you? Some reason it's not working very well. Let me see if I can get a different video up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use a different version of these swim workouts because it is not liking me streaming. I think I got a higher def camera. It's not liking it when I stream and show videos at the same time. So that's just kind of sucks. Um, so let's do this. We're going to go to my Instagram Reels page. I'm going to pull up some CSS videos. Make it real easy for you. Um, while I dial up this one, I'm going to answer a couple more questions here. Good morning. Do you have any advice for a 29-year-old enlisting in the Marine Corps as far as recovery and injury prevention? Last week I was running downhill and calf locked up, half locked. My kneecap wasn't hasn't happened in years. Yeah, you got to be careful running downhill, and there's a lot of impact forces when you run downhill. So one, I would stop running downhill, run uphill fast, maybe walk or slow jog downhill. Um, hills will get you. It going up them will stretch your Achilles. Going down them will hurt your knees, shins. I've seen it happen to everybody. So, my advice would be just get on a plan that is progressive in your running and has some mobility day training in there. Some non-impact cardio. Um, that is what I would do. What's the difference between Cows and Cardio book and the Summer Peak Cows and Cardio? Two different levels altogether. The Cows and Cardio book by itself that says calisthenics and cardio workout is um, has a beginner, intermediate, and advanced program. The summer calisthenics and cardio peak workout that you see with the seasonal tactical fitness periodization models. In fact, I have a copy of that right here. This gold one. This one is peak cows and cardio. What I mean by peak is it's very hard. The volume of it is extremely difficult. I think it starts off at 25 miles a week, ramps up to 35, uh, with even 40 being an option. Some people opt to do the biking on some of those events. But it's hard on the running, still have swimming, and a lot of reps of calisthenics each week. But it's also block periodization. That's another one that the cows and cardio is not. This one, every fourth week of a 13-week program, you do a week kind of a running and cows deload, but focusing on some lifts so you can maintain some of your hard earned gains from the summer or from the winter lift cycle. That's how all these seasonal tactical fitness periodization programs all fit together. They all kind of go through the year with a kind of a bell curve of intensity. Um, all right, so let's share screen here. I'm going to show a swim with fins here. Let me see if I can get in here like this. This is a good swim. It's kind of a big scissor kick. Doesn't need to go that big with this kick, but I like the fact that he can. Now, if you notice, the thing that I corrected him on with this is he's still using that right leg as his primary source of kicking. He starts off, so he's not really changing kicks. If you notice this one, um, check this out. Like he changes sides, but notice that top leg. That top leg is really handling a bulk of the power, right? Big kick, kind of like little flutter kicks in between. Starts off with a scissor kick with a medium sized flutter kick. And if you notice on the back side of this, when he changes sides and he's looking the same way, so now notice his top leg. See how his top leg is still doing a bigger kick than his left leg? So my advice would be you got to change kicks, especially in the 2 mile and longer distance swims. You don't want to use the same kick over and over again. Now, if you're doing a medium sized flutter kick, it doesn't really matter, right? And no matter what you're doing, you're just constantly flutter kicking, whether you're on your strong side, whether you're on your weak side. And then it's a matter of just resting your arm pulls more than your kicks because your kicks are going to be the same. But if you add that big scissor kick with little flutter kicks in between, you definitely want to change the focus of that kick. Now, there is a time and place for this kick. I typically would swim a big scissor kick, little flutter kicks, or maybe even glide when the current is pushing me. So I'm not wasting a lot of energy going with the current. But when I turn back around, hit that other mile coming back into the current, now you got to kick those flutter kicks in there and motor through that current. So that is where it becomes more of a strategy than um, a preference. If that makes sense. All right, looks like we've got some more questions. What are my strength recommendations as far as bench, squat, deadlift? Um, if you go to that article I shared yesterday, the assessment tool, you'll see all of it. I got more than those three, but typically it's that article is named um let me see. That article is named assessment tool for to and through selection. Is passing the OFT enough? Yes, I would say passing the OFT is solid enough. I mean, those are pretty standard scores. You don't have to be a professional power lifter to go into these professions. Now, you need to be strong, but how do I define strong? I would say 1.5 times your body weight on bench. Same with squat, maybe even up to 2 times squat and deadlift, right? So if you're a 200-pound guy, 400-pound squat and deadlift is not out of the question. If you're a 200-pound guy, anywhere between um, 250 and 300 bench is not out of the question. Um, Now, I'm not saying those are what everybody needs. Just if you're close to it, that's that's enough strength. PST numbers will get you through the initial part of it, but Hell Week will test your mental as nothing else will. Of course. In fact, I don't really have a physical fitness preparation for Hell Week. I do have a phase 4 workout that's pretty tough that puts you through a Hell Week simulator with 3 workouts a day type of thing. It's temporary type of program. That's the phase 4 grinder PT one. Um, and sometimes we'll do that when a lot of our guys are going through Hell Week at the same time, and some of the guys were here as part of their training before they shipped. And basically, it's just a lot of the same workouts we always do. You're just wet and sandy all the time. And you go eat breakfast and then you go run a 4 miler, just learning to work with a full belly. Um, so what do you say? I got advice from DJ in Redmond, sent me to Stu Smith, and his page app has been a big help. Well, thank you. It's always nice when fellow frogmen send you my way. Part of that, however, is they just don't have time for a lot of the questions some of you guys ask. I personally get ideas to write articles from some of these questions, but I will say this: there are some very uninformed questions. Got some today, actually. Am I personally leading workouts in Severna Park? Yeah, every day, 6 days a week. Been running through your programs. Would you say that after phases 1 and 3, someone would be adequately prepared for buds? Yes, but you still need to assess yourself and see where you are on that assessment tool that I just put above there. Because 4 mile timed runs, 2 mile swims, some lifting in there so you're prepared for logs and boats and simulated logs and boats with sandbags. There's a lot of workouts that you need to learn how to grind through. Devil's Mile for one of them. Um, so yes, typically guys do pretty well with that amount of training under the belt, depending on their athletic history. So that is usually the biggest caveat to my answer. If they spent the last 10 years getting after it and are tough athletes, wrestlers, lacrosse players, swimmers who lift, runners who lift, um, they've gotten to become somewhat well-rounded, then absolutely. They don't need a whole lot of my time. But if you're kind of new to training, period, you may need a year or more. I mean, we've had a few guys that come through here, never played sports, but they weren't sedentary either. They were just like riding skateboards and doing things like that. I mean, they weren't like professional skateboarders or anything, but they were just local, skateboard rats that, stayed out of trouble. And they were, they actually made good buds candidates. Let's see. Also plan to do the Sam Baby Murph and Devil's Mile. Yeah. Yeah. Murph is a great uh, assessment tool as well. Do you plan to do another podcast? Maybe Slade. Sure. If you know him. Yeah. I don't know him. I do podcasts all the time. But, it's a lot of, I think I've done 240 of them. So still working on adding more. It's a scheduling issue more than anything. What's a good weight to buds? Regiment talks about he was 138 and dropped to 117 during Hell Week. Yeah, that's pretty light, but he was tough. You can be light and tough. Um, in fact, if you Google your question and put my name in it, in fact, I'm going to do that. You asked me the question, what is a good weight to be in buds? In fact, I'm going to share my screen. And you guys can go to Google. Let me Google that for you. It's a fun little challenge. So I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see me Google it. All right, here's my Google search. All right, you guys see that? All right, so what is a good weight for Buds, Stu Smith. Boom. The best height weight for special ops. What? You mean I have an article for that? Look at this. Come on, people. There's even a chart. There's even a chart right here. Look at that. Boom. So go look it up. Have a little more initiative. You know, I take a lot of questions, but I write a lot of articles with these questions. Seriously. Put your question in Google, put my name in it, and I probably answered it. What rep range for squats do you think contributes to the most in 2 mile time? You know what? It's a good question. Don't really know. I would go with the higher rep range, 8 to 10, maybe 12. Don't need to go too heavy for that one. 6 feet, 170. Yeah, I think 180, 185 is good. You know, but don't get slow when you do it either. So, all right. So let me stop sharing here. But yeah, that article there is pretty good. All right, I'm going to share this screen because I got a swimmer up here. I think we're on Instagram. Yeah, here we go. All right, let's see what we got. Kicks off the wall, double arm pull. It's okay. Gets pretty far. Top arm, bottom arm. Kick. I think I showed this one already. But check out that kick. Notice the top leg. Okay, so his top leg is his bottom leg. Does that make sense? Like he's breathing on his right side, but his top leg is he's breathing on his left side, but his top leg. Okay, now when he breathes on this side, it works. This is his strong side, kicking. Top leg goes forward, bottom leg goes backwards. Perfect. Okay, so watch what happens when he switches sides. You don't see this one very often. Usually it's just a bad kick. But check this out. So when he transitions, changes sides, so now he's breathing on his left side, he actually shifts over and does the other side kick with that one. I think I did show this one last week because it's not very common you do that. But at the same time, he's pretty good. I mean, that was like a 50-second 50. So, part of me doesn't want to necessarily critique him on it other than for longer swims, it's going to matter. Swimming with fins, it's going to matter. Now, this one, I'm almost running next to this guy while he swims the CSS. And this is a non-swimming athlete that just crushes any swim that we do. Look at that. Streamline off the wall, double arm pull, transitions, comes out, little scissor kick, top arm, bottom arm. Kick. Nice. Got a little high elbow on the recovery. It might get called for it, but that's an easy fix. I'm not too worried about, when everybody says sharking, that's an easy fix. In fact, if you look at most buds pictures, just about everybody's sharking in the water. Just happens. Overgliding. This is a good one. A lot of people overglide and lose momentum when I talk about this. So whenever I can talk about multiple Mississippis, watch this. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Like if you're not pulling on 3, chances are you're overgliding and losing speed with every kick and glide. All right. So anyway, sorry I had to go to already posted CSSs, but as you can see, there's a wealth of information there. And even if I don't post another CSS video ever again, there are hundreds there that show every issue going wrong or right with the CSS. I like to post guys that are doing it perfectly so people can learn from it, compare and contrast their own video. But if you're going to get somebody do a video for you, just make sure you turn the phone sideways and that person walks along the entire length of the pool with you and not just lets you go and now nobody can see what you're doing for 5 strokes. Oh, my dog says hello. Might have to shut it down here in a minute. How would you recommend breaking up intervals with fins as I'm returning from an ankle injury? Yeah, that's a tough one. Ankles, you may want to swim a little bit without fins first because just swimming, period, hurts ankles. Just that wobbly mobility. I've sprained ankles before and tried to go swimming, and I just left the pool because it hurt so bad. Even if you're not even kicking and you're just doing arm pulls and just dragging your foot just kind of wobbles there. Just sucks. Really hurts. So make sure you're fully recovered before you start swimming because if it hurts to swim, you're just gonna have to get out of the pool. You can try it, see what you think, but I would start off with no fins first. Work on that scissor kick and little flutter kicks. Maybe try a breaststroke kick. Just see how your ankle handles multiple kicks. Then the next time you swim, put on the little slip-on baby fins, like snorkeling fins. I use a brand called Sporty with an I, Sporti. Really nice, easy to fit on fin that's pretty flexible. Then graduate to your more rocket or jet fins, but give yourself a good month of swimming before you do that because it hurts. Did I ever get injured or rolled in buds? Yes, I was injured 6 weeks before graduation. So third phase, right before the island, just kind of sucked. But I made the best of it. Came back stronger, faster, and met a whole bunch of other guys that I graduated buds with. So my group of people that I went through buds with grew by another 30 people. So you got to take the good with the bad on that one. It was a little depressing, but the same thing. There can be a lot of good out of it too. So, how do firefighters stay fit and ready for action? What are top workout routines and strategies they use to maintain peak physical condition? Um, I mean, the day's kind of long for a firefighter. Sometimes if he's doing nothing but calls, he may not be able to work out while on duty. He may have to do all this on his own. But just like any other tactical athlete, I think you need to have a wide variety of training where you keep your foundation of strength alive. So you are lifting, all the lifts that you need to lift. Um, you are doing calisthenics for muscle stamina. You're doing endurance variety. It can be walking, rucking is probably a good idea just because you're always under load of, uh, all your firefighter gear that you're on, that you have on, running upstairs, stair stepper with weight vests, absolutely a must for firefighters. In fact, that's a great cardio option for you versus doing a whole lot of running. Um, Let's see. And yeah, just muscle stamina, endurance, strength, flexibility, mobility, that's a big one. And remember, you're going to be older longer than you are younger in any of these professions if you make it a career. So, addressing mobility and flexibility issues now while you're young will help you tremendously as you age into these jobs and life, period. All right. So, last question over here. Looks like I might have lost my um, Instagram connection. Um, Last question. I got to go. Um, Anyone starting with fins, I recommend Tyr Flex fins. They're like $50 and are amazing way to break in ankles. Yep. before you do rocket fins. I do the same thing with the sporties, or I think I have another set called like Trident fins or something. All right. Well, looks like that's it for me. Sorry I got to bail on you. I'll have that article written later today about what is a running athlete, what's a swimming athlete, what's a power athlete, and all the associated strengths and weaknesses that go with those athletes, stereotypically speaking. If you guys stuck around this long, I appreciate it. If I missed your question, I apologize, but you can always email me, stu@stewsmith.com. And you can go to stewsmithfitness.com, save a lot, save 15% on any program out there, and start working specifically towards some goals. That's what all my programs are designed to do. All right, folks, you guys have a good one. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll be back next week on Monday and Tuesday. You guys have a good one.